What's good, people? It's your boy Uncle Fred with sort of a midweek Cowboys news week. Big news coming out of Dallas today. We decided to release, cut, send home, however you want to phrase it, Rashaan Evans to make room for someone else. Ooh, that's a big one. We're going to talk about that. That's been big in the Cowboy content creator streets. Um, is Micah being unfairly uh, sought out by the officials in these non-calls? Um, I mean, it is what it is. We're going to talk about what he's got going on or whatever. And for some reason, did CD Lamb get phased out in the middle of the Miami Dolphins game? We'll talk about that too. Plus, talking about on to Detroit this week, this Saturday night, and what we should expect from the Cowboys in that game, and some things we better get fixed. And that game could be affected by what happened today. We'll talk about here in just a minute. Hang with your boy, Uncle Fred.
Two times on the beat, bitch.
What's good, people? It's your boy, Uncle Fred, back in the house, back in the saddle, one more again, trying to drum up a little content. Look, I hope everybody had a great, wonderful Christmas with your family. And we always will try to reiterate, what the meaning of Christmas really is, and then about all the gifts and spending up a whole bunch of money and making sure somebody got the right gift. Man, I heard about this family. I don't know if it was in Texas or wherever it was, but they end up killing a bunch of them because they was gift comparing with one another. I mean, that's when the thing then got way out of hand, man. We need to know what the real meaning of the word, what Christmas is about and stuff. So I'm not gonna be too preachy, but that's what I'm about. I'm always gonna talk about that. Never ashamed to talk about it. But that's not why we're here today. But it's always on the menu. Um, Hopefully you spent some good time with your family. I know I did, and that was very enjoyable. I took a couple of days away, but I'm back. I'm back. So so anyway, the news of the day came across this morning. Actually, I probably went about midday or whatever. Get the news, man, and I can't. And I'll have to admit, I was really kind of upset by it because not about what the actual the move means. I mean, the actual person that the move was about, but what that move means, the representation of that particular move. And that is the Cowboys decide to cut or release Rashaan Evans. Linebacker we picked up a few months ago. He was sitting on the couch. He got drafted back in 2018, first round, pick number 22 out of the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. I rolls with the Tide. And played a few years with the Tennessee Titans, then got traded to or moved to the Atlanta Falcons. I guess to go with Arthur Smith, who used to be the offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans, then moved on to Atlanta Falcons to be the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. And so we picked him up, and he's a little bit of a different type of linebacker than what we've been using. He's more of a thumper, 6'2", 245-pound, big physical. And we're kind of of the slender, small, quick linebacker variety in our scheme that Dan Quinn has authored. So we picked him up a few months ago, and so he kind of ran into a little trouble, I think last night, Monday night or Tuesday night, ran into some trouble, got caught with some 1 or 2 ounces of marijuana or whatever the substance was. And I guess they get caught him for speeding or caught him for doing something. I don't know what it was. And of course, they found that in the car. And of course, the next day they ended up releasing him. So now they're saying that didn't have nothing to do with it, but you know. But I got a couple of theories about that. I know all of the content creators in the Cowboy sphere really has gone way out of their way to talk about this, and I felt like I'm a little pup in this thing, but I thought it was a kind of a weird thing too, because I had just touted on my last video. If you go back and listen to it, I had said that I thought he was our best linebacker. Okay. And now we found out he gets released. Okay. So why did they do it? What was the goal, or what was the proceeds from doing so? Well, in order to make room for one Matt Walesko, he's we drafted him a couple of years ago out of I want to say it was uh, North Dakota State. He's like 6'7", 320, big guy. It's not no secret that we kind of need help at the tackle position, because one Tyron Smith sort of couldn't play Sunday. Okay, but they're thinking he may be able to play on Saturday. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because I'm almost to the opinion to let him just put him on ice into the playoffs so he can play, because he's got to play in consecutive weeks. So we know what happened Sunday. They started Chuma Edoga at the left tackle position. Did not play well. He kind of wrecked the game because of his indecision on who to block. And then when he did block, he was not good at it. And it led to a lot of errant throws, and a lot of pressures, a few sacks. He just wasn't good. I would have liked for them to have moved Tyler Smith to tackle, moved and let Chuma Edoga play guard. It's easier to play guard. You just got to be strong. You ain't got to be deft, whatever. But I'm off the subject now. Let's stay back and stay on the subject. Stay on task, right? So they decided to cut Rashaan Evans. Now, when I seen Rashaan Evans play, now he's up now. Now there's some politics in this thing. Now we've talked about that, and as I delve further in this thing, and you get deeper and deeper into the Cowboys way of thinking and way of doing business, you start realizing that the politic thing has layers to it. It's got depth to it, and it affects in different areas. So I kind of get the idea and the feeling that he didn't really get a fair shake, because he really never played but a handful of plays. I think he made 9 tackles since he's been with the Cowboys. Most notable thing, I think he came in on the Buffalo Bills game and made a tackle for a loss, one of the few. And I think it was against the Eagles game. He had a pass interference down the field when we played at Philly. So that was, I think he got a little playing time, but he really was relegated to fringe snaps and special teams because I think he had a penalty coming out of the half in that Philadelphia game as well. So, he wasn't getting a lot of playing time. And so we're looking at the thing. And so you want to understand what's going on here. So, so it was done to make room for Matt Walesko. But I was listening to some other Cowboy creators. I listened to Cowboy Fan Talk tonight. He had about an hour long live. He he had to talk about it. He had been fighting dudes on Twitter. Well, I don't get on Twitter because I just can't do all that stuff. Maybe that's why I don't grow mine with how everybody else is growing theirs. That Twitter thing is something else. But He's been fighting on Twitter. A lot of people say, "Oh man, he wasn't even that good." He wasn't. I'm like, dude, he wasn't good because of utilization. I don't think he wasn't good because he wasn't good. Let me pull up his stats, man. Let me pull up his stats. Okay, now he got drafted out of 2018. I mean, he won probably a couple of national championships at Alabama. Got after the 2017 season, when they beat Georgia, I think he retired. I mean, he got drafted after that season in 2018, and um, he had his best year last year with the Atlanta Falcons. He played 1, 2, 3, 4 years for the Titans and played 1 year for the Falcons. Okay. And he had 159 tackles. Okay. 86 solo, 73 assisted, and he didn't have any sacks, but he did have a forced fumble. And he had 2 sacks. I'm sorry, had 2 sacks, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries. He also had 13 tackles for loss. So you add that to the 2 sacks, that's like 15 lost tackles. Name me the last time we had a linebacker to put up stats like that. I'll wait on you. Okay. Now, for some reason, he found himself on the outs with the Falcons. I don't know. Maybe Arthur Smith had a wild hair up his butt. I don't know, because we know Arthur Smith don't know how to utilize his players. The reason why Bijan Robinson has only got like 500-600 yards rushing, okay? Because he didn't get in the red zone. They pull him out, pull somebody else in. The reason he don't know how to use Kyle Pitts. And so maybe he didn't know how to use Rashaan Evans either. But those are some good stats. And I can't, and see, this just happened last year. So it's hard for me to believe this dude just forgot how to play linebacker, right? And so what Cowboy Fan Talk was trying to say, man, and I was up there, amen, and everything he was saying. It's not that we think that Rashaan Evans is Fred Warner, is going to be Bobby Wagner, any of them kind of dudes. Roquan Smith or Patrick Queen, any of them dudes, any of them guys. But he represented a physical style of linebacker, okay, that we sorely need. How you watch that Buffalo Bills game and how our linebackers and our defensive backs and all that was just getting pushed up and down the field. And then you want to get rid of that dude. The only dude on there that's really providing any kind of resistance, right? And as I said in my video last on Sunday, that we got a package for when teams is trying to throw the ball on us. Let's call it a NASCAR package. And like I said, I told you what it consisted of. And we needed to have a contingent package also for when teams decided they're going to run, because the Buffalo Bills ran the ball like 9-10 times on us, right? They're not going to be the only team that's going to do that. The NFL is a copycat league, and I guarantee you when teams find out or they think you sweet against the run or think your defensive tackles can't hold their weight and linebackers are soft, we got a safety playing linebacker. Marquise Bell plays his butt off, but he's at 205 pounds. And he's coming up against a guard that weighs 320. You know what's going to happen. He's got 115 pounds of weight advantage on him. And he's going to get knocked back 15 yards, okay? Even Damone Clark, he's 225. He gets knocked back. You saw him against the Buffalo Bills. He got knocked back 10 yards and got hurt in the game. That's when they brought Rashaan Evans in, okay? And then by the sheer numbers, we don't have but 3 linebackers on our roster. Why would you think to remove the one position that you got the least of? Heck, I would have released. I mean, I'm piggybacking off of a Cowboy Fan Talk. I would have released Neville Gallimore, who is an extra defensive lineman that don't really do nothing. Okay. And Nashawn Wright is an extra corner who don't mean nothing. Or Noah Igbenogany, who's an extra corner that don't really do nothing. I would have got rid of any of those guys before I'd have got rid of Rashaan Evans because the dude was a first round pick. He's a pick 22 just a few years ago. He's not washed up. So what does this mean? Because see, what I'm saying is that I'm not saying he's a great linebacker. I think he's our best linebacker because I think Damone Clark has his limitations, right? I think on sheer talent, he's our best linebacker. Is he a linebacker that can cover and pass coverage? No. You probably will have to pull him off the field on third and fourth, second and third downs, whatever when teams are passing. But it's almost like we don't never consider. Oh, you mean they could run the ball? That's what it seems like we feel like we're saying. Oh, it's like we scratching our head like, oh, what's this? The team's running the ball. What the heck are they doing? I don't know if they find an advantage because I read in the after effects of the Buffalo game that both Sean McDermott and Josh Allen were both saying they didn't come into that game with no ideas that they were going to run the ball 49 times. I guess they came into it with a short yardage thing, and the Cowboys never adjusted to a big package. They still went with their nickel package, a 6-man front, a 6-man in the box. And they got like a good big yardage on it, and they said, oh, shoot, let's keep running it. Kept getting 7 and 8, 9 yards. They kept running it, kept running it, kept running it. And we never made no adjustments. And I'm telling you, other teams are going to do that, especially in the playoffs. The weather gets rough. We're playing outdoors in the elements. So, but it's not about how good a player Rashaan Evans is. It's what that type of move means. It's like saying we don't care about linebackers. We don't care about physical play. And I'm telling you, it's not a good idea for us to be doing that, especially as the playoffs are about to start. Okay, so we don't value, and I'm asked the question why. Okay, not because I don't think we didn't need Matt Waletzko, because I think we need, because we don't know anything but Chuma Doga back out there, right? And so we can see what Matt Waletzko can do. I'm thinking he might get some playing time against the Lions this Saturday. Okay, but why? Why did they make this move? Is it because we don't value linebackers' contributions? And it's obvious by the way Dan Quinn is scheming this thing. We really don't run. What is our scheme? We run a 4-2-5. And they list Micah as a linebacker, but really he's a defensive end. And really it's Damone Clark and Marquise Bell. And then, of course, we go with Curse and Hooker at safety, and Hooker, Curse, and Wilson at safety, and of course Bland and Gilmore at corner. So we run a 4-2-5. So that lets you know we're more of the passing defense variety. We're at our big nickel, right? And then we run additional pass rushers out there when we run our NASCAR. But I'm telling you, we got to come up with a way where we put bigger, more physical guys out there when teams are going to run the football. An off-road package, if you will. And I thought a guy like Rashaan Evans might be the centerpiece of such an alignment. And now we done went and released him. Okay. And I'm just telling you, we don't value linebackers. It's not a coveted position in our scheme, okay? And I think teams are going to make us pay for that, okay? Another thing is, and people were saying, I even heard it on A to Z with Mauricio today. He was saying he didn't think he was good because the PFF scores on him weren't good. Well, dang, you're not going to have good scores if you limited in your usage. Use on a handful of and you're not put in a position where you could be successful. You could sandbag somebody's career or their effectiveness by putting them in positions where they can't be successful. Say for instance, I put somebody like DeMarcus Lawrence at safety. I'm setting him up for failure because that's not where he's most effective. Okay, you had Rashaan Evans in a pass rush in a pass coverage, and he got called for, and that's not his area, right? So I think the way we misused him, used him only on special teams, led to his poor stats. That dude didn't just forget how to play football. I'll say that again. His scheme was not, his play was not a fit for our scheme, but you got to adapt your scheme to fit your players. You can't just be so scheme, dependent. And you got a guy that, okay, we can use this guy in a scheme where we, guys are running the ball. We want to shut that crap down. Okay. And, uh, so now what it also could mean, um, it could mean that Micah might be starting to play a little more traditional linebacker, which I've been calling for. I said it in the last video in my what I was going to talk about last week during the week, but I wasn't feeling that great. My voice was coming and going and whatnot, and I kind of hit on the high notes on the video last Sunday. But yeah, I look for Micah to play a little linebacker because if he plays the middle linebacker, he can see it all. you know. And I'm gonna talk about Micah here in a little bit too, because there's some things going on with Micah, man. But I think it's league wide. But uh, I just don't know what it means, man. I just think it's saying that we not caring about what a linebacker contributes to our defensive, uh, you know, alignment. We don't care, and I'm just hoping it don't bite somebody. Look, we may just be blowing smoke. He could clear waivers, and we might pick him up. I've heard from Michael Gelkins, that the idea is they're gonna pick him up, send him back to the practice squad, we'll recall him, whatever. Because right now our linebackers are Damone Clark. Micah's listed as a linebacker, but really we play him at defensive end, and Marquise Bell and Tyrus Wheat. The guy that we got as an undrafted free agent out of Mississippi State. He plays linebacker. He's really an edge too. And I heard we had Michael Jones, I think, Michael Jones, but I thought we released him. If I'm not real sure, but we really don't have a lot of linebackers, man. And when we're playing, look, we're going to the playoffs. Look, we could play the Detroit Lions, we could play the Philadelphia Eagles, we could play the San Francisco 49ers. All of those teams like to run. We're going to talk about Detroit Lions here in a minute. Okay? And I just think it's not a good look. I think it's just it's thumbing the nose up at we want to do things our way. Now, the other thing is, I talked about it Sunday also. We love our guys. And when I say our guys, I mean the guys we draft. And I think it was Boss Cowboy that said it's like a thing, it's a level of politics within the Cowboys front office that we give a lot of levity and a lot of, to the guys we draft. And then we treat the guys that we pick up from waivers, pick up off of free agency, we treat them like stepchildren. Because you see, like, we went ahead and cut Rashaan Evans, who got caught with some stuff. Now, hadn't Sam Williams got caught a couple of times and had a couple of accidents and had incidents with the law 2-3 times? But he's a guy we drafted, right? Yeah, we drafted him, so we're gonna it's okay, buddy. We gonna pull your playing time a little bit, but you still with the team. But dude, man, we love our guys, and they legitimate kids, and them other guys are bastard kids. They outside kids. Man, that's got to stop, because some of these guys are talented guys. Because there's a reason Amari Cooper still ain't with us. Okay, we talked about that. Okay, and it's a reason why Brandon Cooks ain't getting the targets and getting. Brandon Cooks is a talented dude. Why he got 43 catches for like 590 yards and 6 touchdowns. And he got 1,000 yards for quarterbacks way less than Dak Prescott. Okay? Digressing again. Because we like our guys. And I didn't realize until I started delving into this how deep that thing runs. Where's the last time you seen a guy that we picked up in the free agency, a guy that picked up that we didn't draft, that they became a star, other than maybe T.O.? And we can say Amari Cooper, too, because Amari Cooper had a couple of Pro Bowl seasons with us. He had a couple of 90-catch seasons with us. But as soon as the first sign of we didn't like something he did, he was gone for a 5th-round pick. Never will forgive them for that. And what did Amari Cooper do Sunday? That dude, a Saturday, that dude had like 11 catches for 276 yards and 2 touchdowns. When's the last time a Cowboy had a receiving number like that? I'll wait. And you can say, well, he didn't give that to us every night. He had days he took off. Well, everybody have days they take off. CD Lamb takes days off. You know? We're gonna talk about CD here in a minute too. But anyway, man, no, that's not good, man. It's like we're accepting, a certain thing, and it's like I'm not liking it, man. And I'm with the other content creators, whether it be Boss Cowboy, whether it be Cowboy Fan Talk, Vosh Lombardi, Skywalker Steel, Landlord. We don't like it, man. We think it's crazy that they did this. We think it's crazy, you know, and I think I'm hoping and praying we don't. I'm just praying that he gets cleared on waivers and get back with the team, and we can go back to what it was, and we can do some things with him, because I think he's our best linebacker in terms of what a linebacker is known for: coming downhill, getting up in those run fits, blasting, and taking on guards and stuff, and getting to the ball carrier. And he can do that. He can do that. Okay. So we'll see where it goes with that, but I'm on record. I don't like it. I think the Cowboys made a grave mistake. I think there's other positions they could have used to sacrifice to get Walesko in, and I don't like them using Rashaan Evans as a scapegoat or as a sacrificial lamb to do it. I don't like it. I think it's a mistake, and I think we will rue the day that we did this. And I'm hoping it don't happen, and I'm hoping it all comes out in the wash, but we'll see. All right, the second thing we're going to talk about is, man, this thing been catching traction, this Micah thing, gosh, man, I saw a meme yesterday actually, where it was like from the Dolphins game, it was about 14 instances. There's 14 different instances in that game where Micah was getting held. One particular time, he's getting held up around the chin strap. Another dude had his arm around his waist. Couple other times that guys had his arms on the shoulder pads, pulling the shoulder pads, got their arms wrapped around them. It was about 14 different instances. I counted them. It was 5 on each side and 4 in the middle. Different snapshots. Okay. Now, I have been critical of Micah because I think he talks too much. I think he does too much on Twitter. I think he engages too much in stuff that it's not productive. I don't think it helps his cause or anything like that. And sometimes you can get on the wrong side of officials. Look, officials can call what they want, right? We know that. But the thing is getting ridiculous now. When I read that he hadn't got a holding call since the Chargers game, because I know it had been a couple of months. I didn't know it had been that far back. That was like game 6. We were 3-2 when we did make that call. That was after the bye. Are you serious? He hadn't had a holding call since the Chargers game, and he had a sack late in that game to salt that game away too on 4th down, if I'm not mistaken. But he hadn't had a holding call since that game. Are you freaking kidding me? And you see all these instances right here now. Now there was an article I was reading today on 105.3 The Fan. They was talking to some of those guys on there. And it's become evident that Micah ain't the only one talking about that. Now, I know we don't get calls either, because I think there's some Cowboy bias in there too. Because I think it's all fun and games to make fun of the Cowboys, to poke fun at the Cowboys, or make the Cowboys not be successful. Oh, look at them. They're a $9 billion franchise and they can't even win. It's just fun to make fun of the Cowboys, right? I think there's profitability in that, right? So I think, us not getting calls and watch them, look at them losers. They're complaining about not getting calls when everybody, calls, can be made here or there. But when you hear about a dude that's as good and as special as Micah is, not getting a holding call since, I want to say that's October. Y'all do know this is almost the end of the year, right? And the Cowboys have only gotten 13 holding calls all season, the second least in the league. Okay. And the Raiders have gotten the most. I think they've gotten like 23, 24 because they've got Max Crosby. But Max Crosby can't rush the passer like Michael Parsons. Now I think he, is a better, he's not a better football player. And I think Micah Parsons has such quick twitch that sometimes he gets on guys so quick they can't do nothing but hold because he's around them so fast. And sometimes he gets other penalties, like he got that roughing the passer penalty because he got around Daggum Armstead so quick and he's coming so fast, he can't stop on a dime. He's running it like he's a 4-3. And he can't stop on a dime. He can't stop the plane in midair, And he got a step and he pushed him. And they called a person out. And I was like, but you watching him that close, but you ain't watching that he getting his jersey tore off him almost every other play. But then here's the thing. I went to some other websites. I went to Dog website for the Cleveland Browns. Myles Garrett is saying the same thing. He said it's been forever since he had a holding call. He said guys are holding him on every play. And said then one of the Cowboy content creators from the Browns and then they said on a run by Jerome Ford in the game. I think it was the game they played the Bears. So I think this was a week ago. And they said, they called a ticky-tack call on one of the offensive linemen. It said that Myles Garrett getting held like that on 15 plays. And I thought about our situation. They called the ticky-tackiest calls on Tyler Smith for some random defensive lineman that can't hold Micah's jock, and he get a holding call, and Micah ain't had one since freaking October. Are you freaking kidding me? Okay, because he got one against Buffalo that was ticky-tack that spoiled a big run by Rico Dowdle, and he got one on Sunday when we was down in the goal line when Dak had I think he had a scramble, and they called a hold, and I thought it was a trash call considering how much Micah has been, getting held, So it's, then I read on a thing on the Steelers website that, the TJ Watt not getting calls either and stuff. So I'm thinking it's a worldwide, NFL-wide thing because they want to cater to the offense. They want to score points. They want to call holding calls every hunt. But my thing is, and this is something Mike Fisher said, they don't want to call them because the games will be 4 hours and 5 hours long. And I'm like, no, it won't, because it's just like in the NBA. When they started calling the hand checking, okay, it didn't result in 60 free throws being players adjusted, and they will adjust because they'll start playing the defense a different way. Playing defense, and their scoring will go up, but defense will be played differently. So what will happen is offensive linemen will stop holding. They'll start being a little more conscientious of that. They'll find a different way to block without holding. Okay, they'll adjust because they'll get tired of it being second down and 20, second down and 30. Okay, because it's 10 yards. Okay, I made a comment on Mike Fisher because he was saying, well, it's because Micah is like Shaq and it's hard to referee him. And I'm like, no, it's not. He said if he did it, the games would be long. I'm like, no, that's not a good analogy because Shaq, even though it was hard to ref Shaq, it ain't like Shaq won 2-3 games without getting a foul call. He averaged 10, 12 free throws a game. It'd be different if he only got 5 or 6 free throws a game and point guards and stuff are getting more free throws than him. That's not the case. He got free throws, right? Couldn't hit them, but he got them. Micah's not getting not getting calls because I think they want to score more points. They don't want these pass rushers to wreck the game. And I think, in addition, they want to stick it at the Cowboys every chance they get. More so than the other team. I think it's that, but I think it's an additional thing. And I think it's just fun that the Cowboys complain about calls. Because it's like, they make us look like losers. And that's why I was like, I don't like to play the blame the ref game. But when you see how many times he gets held, it's like, goodness, what are we doing? And then you see the calls that they do make, and I'm like, man, if you gonna call holding, call an egregious one. Don't call one that comes on every play. I just don't like the way that goes, man. So he's not getting calls. Maybe it's because he's outspoken. Maybe because he got a podcast and he's drawing all his attention to it. Maybe that's part of it. But it's getting ridiculous now, and like I said, it's all over the league, and so something got to be done about that. Roger Goodell, you got to do something about that, man, because one thing about the NFL, I always have said, that always made it for me more. I like it better than the NBA, even though I love the NBA. Is that the game you watching? You don't feel like it's been messed with. You feel like what you're watching is legitimate. They're not playing with the game. And I see too many times in the NBA where they play with the game. There was when we're not calling foul for certain teams. Golden State Warriors won the championship last year before last, and the year last year they could barely get a foul call on them. But random teams was getting, and they the champs. And I'm like, what are we doing? And I'm like, you kind of like making sure that one team don't repeat by, sandbagging the thing against them. I like the Warriors by a chance, in case you haven't noticed. But I was noticing that, right? And so I said, now that would never happen in the NFL. I'm like, dadgum, NFL, you let me down now. I always consider y'all the more legitimate of the leagues. And, you becoming like, oh, we can fix the game to suit our fancy. And I'm like, man, you can't do that, man. You can't do it. And they're starting to let me down. But we got to do something about that, man. Got to do something about it, because legitimacy of the game is something I value. That what you're watching is the competition between two teams, and you're not cooking the books, so to speak. Okay. Um. So yeah. So other pass rushers are experiencing the same thing. So I don't know what can be done, but something needs to be done. All right, Micah, hang in there, buddy. I'm glad you ain't just saying I ain't getting it. They ain't getting them, so I'm just gonna quit. So he's still bringing it every night, every game, and we'll need that going forward for us to do what we need to do. Moving on, the game Sunday, and I kind of hit on it a little bit on the video Sunday, but did CeeDee Lamb get phased out by the team? Now, if we watched the game, CeeDee Lamb had like 4-5 catches, like 95 yards in the first quarter and a touchdown. Boy, that 49-yard catch and run was a thing of beauty, man. And then you didn't see him get another sniff into the fourth quarter, like late in the game, fourth quarter. He ended up with 6 for like 120 yards and a touchdown, but he had 4 of them catches in the first quarter. And he came on. He came on. He mentioned it because I'm not just saying something because I thought so. It's a for real thing. Um, here we go. CeeDee Lamb says, he had 100 receiving yards and a first quarter touchdown. He said he started off hot. He added, then I went absent, and he said I thought that was weird, you know. And he says, he said they weren't doing. He said they weren't doing anything. He's talking about in terms of what's my man's name? The defensive coordinator of the Dolphins. He said they didn't do anything different. They didn't like bracket him or put Ramsey on him exclusively, which he had asked for to do, but he didn't do it. He said they weren't doing anything. Lamb said to the Dolphins defense, "I feel like if I'm going to be involved, keep me involved." It was weird. Second and third quarter, very weird. Started off very hot, then I went absent. That's why it was weird. And then, and then I think I heard something that Mike McCarthy said in the press conference, like, well, you got it's a lot of things that go into. Like, I'm like, dude, if CeeDee Lamb's got coverage, one-on-one coverage, I don't think there's a dude on the Dolphins that could cover him. Get him the freaking football, okay? And I like to spread it around too because I think Cooks don't get the ball as much as he needs to either. But I think that's because of some other things. We talked about it earlier. He's not one of the guys. He's a guy we brought on. But Cook, CeeDee Lamb and Ferguson are guys. They drafted guys, and the offense just went weird. It is also weird because we so that first couple of possessions, we did play fakes. We did motion. We did, speed options. We was lining up CeeDee Lamb in the backfield. We was doing all kind of creative stuff. And then it's like, we ain't see it no more. And I think that's all part of that. It's almost like Mike McCarthy got conservative. We just a couple of drives. He ran the ball on second of downs. We couldn't run the football. So you basically wasting the down on that. You'd be better served to play fake it and throw it to, like Tony Pollard out in the flat and get 6 or 5, 6, 7 yards that way. And let that be your running game. Be more creative with that. But yeah, he didn't get no catches for like two and a half quarters. And it really, he kind of just made a big word salad when he was talking about, like, well, you gotta come up with it's the things that go into that. You got to look at all the different variables. And I'm like, dude, you didn't get your best player in the past game, the football, for like 2.5 quarters. Problematic, man. That is problematic. All right. And so that's something that's got to be done, got to be dealt with. Now, incidentally, it's letting you know, if you went about doing for CD what you should do for CD, what kind of numbers he would really have. And I just want to give it, I know what his numbers are. He was 6 for 118 yards and a touchdown on Sunday. Okay. 6 for 118 and a touch. But remember, he had 95 of that in the first quarter. So what we're talking about, 5 and 18, was it 23 yards, 2 catches for 23 yards? Rest of the game, not acceptable. CeeDee Lamb has 109 catches, which is number one in the NFL right now. He has the most catches in the NFL right now. Your boy, CeeDee Lamb, okay, for 1,424 yards, which is second in the league to who? To Tyreek Hill, and he's got 9 touchdowns, which is tied for fourth, okay? He's averaging 13.1 yards per catch. 109, 1,424, and 9 touchdowns. Now, if you're trying to tell me that dude ain't a top 2, 3, 4 receivers in the NFL, I don't know what you're doing. You got to get that dude to football, Mike. I don't care. Line him up in the backfield, line him up in the slot, line him up at tight end, line him up at tackle, line him up wherever. Get that dude to football. And don't do that no more. We're gonna be going home early. Okay. You can't do that. Okay, no more fooling around with CeeDee Lamb. Spam CeeDee Lamb, and then when they bracket him, make a team bracket him, then come back and get Brad and get Cooks and then Ferguson. That's what you do. All right. All right. Finally, man, it's on to Detroit. We got a game, an early game. It's gonna be Saturday. Of course, then during the week this week, they've already had a practice. Tyron Smith didn't practice. Of course, he never practices during the week, but he has said he's feeling better. He's having spasms and different things with his back and stuff like that. Your back is a funny beast, man. It just is. So, but we got the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions coming off of winning their division. They're 11-4, and we got to get some things fixed. Now, we playing at home. It might be our last home game of the season. I'm hoping it's not. But I mean, even if we got some road games in the playoffs, it might not be, we might get, win those games. I'm not saying that's going to be our last game, but I'm saying certain teams win, we might get a home game later. If one of the division winners gets knocked off, it could happen, right? By a wild card team. It has happened before. And, we might get a home game, but this could possibly be the last home game. We know we play very well at home. I think this might be the best team we will have played at home. No knock on the Eagles. Eagles got some issues. Got some issues defensively. Got some issues in the locker room. They got some issues. They got some stuff going on. Devontae Smith even said, he said, "Nah, man, I'm not happy with it. I know we 11-4, but I ain't happy. Things ain't good. We're not playing good football right now. It's not good right now." Devontae Smith, one of the most truest dudes you're gonna find. He said what he said. What he mean what he say. Okay, roll Tide. But Detroit, man, coming in off that win against the Minnesota Vikings, and they clinched their division. They're 11-4. They got a number 1 seed is up for grabs because funny thing happened on Christmas night. The 49ers, who looked invincible, got boat raced by the Baltimore Ravens. So they 11-4 also. So you got 3 11-4 teams with the 49ers, the Eagles, and the Lions are all 11-4. We could have been 11-4. Hey, we got to stop. But I'm digressing. Wall brought that up. But they come in here. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you how that decision that we made today, how that affects our game on Saturday. Now we're playing the Detroit Lions, right? Detroit Lions coming off a win. They beat the Minnesota Vikings 30-24. Okay. And the Detroit Lions, let me give you some of their stats. Passing yards per game, they come in with 253, which is fifth overall per game. Rushing the ball, that's what I'm talking about. They rush 141.1 yards a game. That's third in the league, I think, right with the Eagles and the Ravens, maybe. I think they're right up in there. And let me go some more items here. Jared Goff, he's a smidge under 4,000 yards. Got 3,984 yards. He needs 16 yards for 4,000. Got 27 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. This is the thing that's interesting here. Okay, let me tell you how potent the Detroit Lions running game is. David Montgomery, who's missed a couple of games, has 910 yards and 11 touchdowns. Needs 90 for 1,000. Okay. Jahmyr Gibbs, who's the change of pace back, has 872 yards, which is 128 yards from 1,000 and 9 touchdowns. So the Detroit Lions could very easily have 2,000-yard rushers because all Montgomery needs is 90 yards in 2 games, which is like 45 yards a game, which he could easily get. And all Jahmyr Gibbs needs is 128, which is 64 yards a game, which he could easily get. He could get that against us and get it last week against Minnesota. He could get that and get their 1,000 yards, both of them. That's how potent their running game is. You going into the game and you lighting the loafers at linebacker. What the freak are we doing? Okay. In the air, you got Amon-Ra Brown with 1,281 yards. I think it's like fifth in the league. He's got 9. I think he got 8 touchdowns. Sam Laporta has 9. I think he has 71 catches. And I think the rest of their guys, I think you got guys like Khalif Raymond got like 30 catches. And then you got guys like Jameson Williams, another roll tighter. He has like 22 catches. So really, they get it to Amon-Ra St. Brown, just like we get it to CeeDee Lamb. So, and I think they've kind of fell off a little bit defensively. Averaging 253 a game on offense, and they're averaging 390. 4 yards a game on average of scoring. Moving the football. So they can move the football. And I'm going to tell you something about Dan Campbell. He's a former Cowboy, tight end. Okay. Here's a dude that's a bare knuckles, kind of like, I guess, like you want to call him a tough guy, whatnot. You don't think he want to come in and like, oh yeah, I watch them Buffalo Bills highlights and like, oh yeah, we're gonna line up and just smash them in into kind of like what DeMarcus Lawrence said after he beat the Eagle. Punch him in the face and then punch him again, make him quit, then continue to punch him in the face and punch him in the face, punch him in the face, punch him in the face. I think Dan Campbell is the same way. I think he wants to do that to us. And then you want to deplete our linebacker core. But it's going to show Saturday what kind of game we're going to have in order to beat them. Now, I'll come in with my predictions later, but, I just think Detroit, they're a complete team. And they could easily, I'm not thinking they're gonna beat us. I think we're gonna win that game because we're a different team at home on that surface with our fans. We can play our here we go offense, and I think we're gonna win that game. And I'll give you my prediction probably on my Friday video or early Saturday video. I'll come on and give my prediction. Starting to get clogged up again. Still ain't kicked this thing, but whatever. But man, we better come with it, man. Detroit's coming. They want to let everybody know they no fluke. They look at us as somebody in their way of trying to get home court, home field all through the playoff, which they could easily get if they win both of their games and some other things happen. I think they could get it. And we're just in the way. We're just laying on the tracks. So I think we need to come in with a focus. Plus, it's Jimmy Johnson night. All the stars is gonna be there. Michael Irvin's gonna be there. Troy Aikman's gonna be there. Daryl Moose Johnson's gonna be there. All them offensive linemen. Leon Lett, he gonna be there. He's on them Super Bowl teams. What's Big Man's name? Uh, uh, Larry Allen, he gonna be there, and all them dudes is gonna be there. Dion's probably gonna be there. Charles Haley, that's who I couldn't think of the other day. Darren Woodson, who's up for the Hall of Fame. Come on, Darren, we can get it because that team probably gonna have about 7 Hall of Famers when it's all said and done. But Darren Woodson is past overdue. If you got Leroy Butler in the Hall of Fame, Darren Woodson needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Come on, Hall of Fame. We need to get him in the Hall of Fame. Darren Woodson needs to be in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, all them guys is gonna be there. I even believe Barry Switzer is gonna be there, man, because it's a big deal. He won a Super Bowl for the Cowboys, right? He should be there. You got all them guys, all the guys to be there. Emmett is gonna be there, all that. What's the golly? What's the offensive lineman's name that always was on Madden's all Madden's first team? He's got a podcast too. I can't think his name, but all them dudes is gonna be there. So all those people that dudes, you can't lay that one down. You gotta come with it, man. You gotta come. It's gonna be electric. We gotta come with it that night. We gotta come with it. But anyway, we talked about Rashaan Evans, talked about Micah not getting called. We're talking about CD getting phased out. And we're talking about the game on Saturday with the Lions. And I guess I'm fresh out of things to talk about. So the last thing I'm going to tell y'all, if I don't talk to y'all again, I kind of expect to talk to y'all because New Year is Monday. I plan to talk to y'all again. So I wish y'all happy New Year then. But happy holiday season. Continue to spend time with your family. And one thing I will say, how about them Cowboys? And I'm gonna tell you, look, I want to get some kudos and some recognition. Look, man, video I submitted on Sunday. Oh, I got a chat. Ooh, I got chats. I didn't think I had no chats, man. Lions running game could be deciding factor. You ain't kidding. It's like I just illustrated, man. They could have 2 dudes with 1,000 yards. And we just made ourselves light in the linebacker core. And you might say Rashaan Evans ain't all that good, but look, man, you need numbers. You only got 3 dudes playing linebacker on the whole squad. So yeah, Lions running the ball, and like I was saying earlier, I don't know if you caught that, Chris. Dan Campbell's one of them dudes like them some soft son of. I'm gonna run this thing down their throats. And I think he's one of them dudes that would say something like that. That would do something like that, right? So, yeah, man. So I'm just kind of looking over, make sure because I don't want to miss nobody. Anybody that's coming in and chooses to interact with me online, hey man, while I'm on my videos, man, I appreciate that. Like I said, I'm a small potatoes trying to build it up. It's a lot to do. You gotta be consistent. You gotta continue to make videos. And, if you got a full-time job, that's not the easiest thing to do, which I still do. So that's kind of hard to do. At some point you want to be so good at it and pull so much income, you don't need a job. You can just do this. The Cowboys would be your job, and some dudes do that. That's their job, and I wouldn't mind doing that because I could talk Cowboys every day, all day, every day. I could do that. But I want to say before I transition to the chats that when I looked at my video the last stats, it was well over 500. I know that may not sound a lot to certain people, but to me, man, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. Like 307. Uh, that's a lot, man. That's a lot for me. I have had videos that did like 500, 500 and some, 400 and some, 300 and some, which I mean, I'm loving that, man. Please hit the like button. Please, if you come in, please hit the like button because that just directs other people to more of my content. And I think I think I provide pretty good content. I try to. I try. I'm maybe not as silver tongued as some of the others, but I try. But yeah, I just want to say I appreciate the love. The 300 video views for little on me is a lot, man. At some point, I'm hoping that's an everyday thing. When my video get 500 to 1,000, 1,500 views, and I want to get my subscriptions up to over 1,000. That's when you start getting money, and I got to get up to there. I got to. I ain't got a couple of hundred. I need to get that up. So please help me get there because I'd like to, I like to be able to add some things to my channel. Some graphics and other things, but them things cost money and they ain't nothing cheap, and all that kind of stuff. And so anyway, not begging for it. I'm just saying, just get me out there. Just like when you see something you like and share it with other people. Yeah, man, this dude Uncle Fred, he's pretty funny, man. He has some pretty good content. Just tell somebody about me, and I'll continue to try to make good videos for y'all. So, but anyway, man, please like, comment, subscribe, become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. Guarantee you will not be disappointed. And we'll catch you guys on the next video. Go Cowboys. God bless. Catch you guys next time.